So hi everyone, I'm Kelly Springer, owner of Kelly's Choice, and we are going to talk about superfoods today. And something very interesting about superfoods is that this is a marketing term that was coined to talk about foods that can actually give you health benefits. So superfoods are foods that have high nutrient calorie ratios that promote health and decrease the risk of chronic disease. Now, we've been talking about chronic disease a lot lately, and one of the statistics that has just come out is that 6 out of 10 Americans, so 6 out of 10 have a chronic disease. So think about the people in your life. Think about your parents, think about your siblings, think about your aunts and uncles. Can you think of one of those people that may be living with a chronic disease? And with a presentation like this, talking about foods that basically have superpowers, that they can actually reverse chronic disease. So I want to empower you to understand that you truly can change your health with the foods that we're going to talk about today. It's pretty neat. So eating them can actually prolong your life, and not just prolong your life, make you live a better, healthier life. So the superfoods are out in the media right now, and you're going to see that word superfood in newspapers, on boxes, for all of these things. But I think it's kind of funny that these are foods that have been eaten for thousands of years. So if you see on the page right here, these are chia seeds. Chia seeds have been eaten, and they started being eaten by the Aztecs and Mayans in South America for centuries. And these are little teeny seeds that have a ton of nutrient benefits, from omega-3s to proteins, the nutrients and vitamins. And so these are not created in the lab. These were not genetically modified. These are foods that have been around on our earth forever. And so when we eat foods like this, our body recognizes what to do with them, and it actually can improve our health. So kale, let's start with that first. Now, kale was known as one of the very first superfoods that came out. And I always laugh because all green leafy vegetables are superfoods. But why did kale get picked up first? Well, you can actually dry kale and sell it on the shelves. So that's why kale got the notoriety first. You can't really do the same with Bib lettuce or with romaine. And so that's why kale got pushed to the forefront. But all green leafy vegetables can actually help to reduce inflammation. They can truly detox your body from substances. And they also can be used in smoothies, a salad, in your juices. So any of these green leafy vegetables are going to be considered a superfood. Tomatoes. So back when my daughter was in 4th grade, she's now going to be a senior, which is crazy. But back when she was in 4th grade, she created for her science class a veggie girl. And this veggie girl had all different vegetables as part of different parts of the body. And one of them was the tomatoes that represented the heart. And if you cut a tomato a certain way, you'll see that it actually has 4 chambers. And that tomato has nutrients and vitamins that can actually help cardiovascular disease. Pretty neat, right? So this is where they have a rich concentration of lycopene, and they also have a high concentration of potassium, which helps regulate our heartbeat. So it's amazing that this tomato has so many nutrients and vitamins. Now, there's some crazy physicians out there. I think his name is Dr. Guthrie, something like that, that says we should not be eating tomatoes because of these whatever. If anyone tells you not to eat a tomato, run the other way. Tomatoes are absolutely loaded with nutrients and vitamins, and slightly cooking a tomato will actually release even more of that lycopene. So kind of a little fun story about that. They are an excellent source of vitamin E, vitamin C, and beta carotene, which converts to vitamin A. All of these are antioxidants. Antioxidants are actually helping our body. That's antioxidation, anti-aging, anti-cancer. bringing down inflammation. So that's why these nutrients and vitamins are so crucial to our body. And you can use tomatoes in so many different ways, from salad, soups, sandwiches, blend them into herbs. They're absolutely delicious and wonderful. So back in 1 year ago, I actually got to fly out to Michigan to learn about regenerative farming and heirloom tomatoes. So you're going to be seeing more about that regenerative farming and more about heirloom tomatoes, because the colors and the nutrients and vitamins have even more of these essential vitamins and minerals. So pretty kind of cool. So did you know that there's actually all different types of varieties called New Girl, Jet Star, Super Fantastic, and First Lady? So you'll see that there's all different types of tomatoes, and they can come in all colors. So a fun fact is that the orange and the yellow tomatoes actually have less acidity. So if you're dealing with any type of acid reflux or GERD, having the orange or yellow can be less of that acid. But the colors in these heirloom tomatoes are so beautiful, from the blues to the greens. And that's how the heirloom tomato farm out in Michigan got started. It was an artist who was looking at these tomatoes and the beautiful colors that they have. All right, the next is the acai berry, and that's how you pronounce it, acai. The acai berry is small, round, black purple fruit grown in South America predominantly. And the first time I got to hear about the acai berry, I was out in San Francisco, and they had an acai berry truck, and they were doing these blended smoothie bowls. And this was years ago, and now that seems to be kind of across our entire US where we're having these. So the acai berry is a high antioxidant rich berry, which can actually help to reduce cholesterol and blood pressure, clear skin, and aid in weight loss. And it also can help to promote better energy and stamina. So with this acai berry, you just want to make sure that you're getting the natural source. So if you can have it frozen and it's natural source, try to stay away from the juices of this. That's just going to give you the sugar aspect without giving you all of the fiber that the acai berry is really helpful for. And then also, if you're going to have them covered in chocolate or something like that, you're going to get a lot of the added sugars. So getting it in its most natural state, it's going to be the best and give you the most natural benefits of that berry. All right, so then getting into blueberries, and a fun fact about blueberries is that they are native to the United States, and they are native to the Northeast. These blueberries are widely known for their high content in vitamin K and vitamin C, as well as manganese. So these are loaded with nutrients and vitamins. They have been used in different research to see how they can conserve memory and mental sharpness. So this is where these blueberries are just so great. And any of the berries, if we talk about strawberries, if we talk about blackberries at our house, we have some black raspberries. These are all going to have the nutrients, vitamins, fiber that our body is looking for to really truly be superfoods. So all the berries are very helpful. So again, they add this beautiful colors. If we add them to smoothies, you can top them on salads. You can put them in yogurt. They're really great for managing heart and blood sugar. So they're just a great thing that you can add to every single day. And soon, I think even right now, you can go blueberry picking and get them so fresh and delicious. So again, great for all these things. They really are great as the yogurt smoothies. When I go into school districts, I'll actually add them to the smoothie. So it adds that beautiful purple color. This is just a fun fact that the state of Maine is the single largest producer of blueberries in the entire world. Little fun fact, but they really truly are native to US. All right, so let's get into beans. Beans are the only food that is eaten in every single culture around the world. Beans, doesn't matter what kind, black, pinto, kidney, garbanzo, all of the beans are going to be amazing superfoods because they are packed with protein and fiber, which makes them the staple around the world. So again, we get into the crazy kind of people out there, the Dr. Guntheries of the world, and they talk about lectins. Lectins are something that's on the outside of the bean, but beans are cooked and those lectins disappear. There is only health benefits to eating beans. If you can get just a half a cup of beans at your meal, you'll be getting the amount of fiber that is recommended per day. Beans are fantastic and they truly are a powerhouse food. So we want to make sure that we're getting at least 3 cups of these beans or legumes every single week for their health benefits. And so these black and pinto beans are specifically great for heart and digestive health. The reason for digestive health is because of their high fiber content, which feeds our gut bacteria. That means that they're actually a prebiotic. So that's where they're really great for digestive health. Also, they're an anti-inflammatory food and they can help with blood sugar control because of that high fiber and protein content. They help stabilize our blood sugar levels. So they're great on top of salads, whole grains. You can mash them up into bean dips. There's so many amazing hummuses right now out on the market. They've come a long way. So when people tell me that they don't like beans or like hummus, there's around 72 different varieties of beans in the marketplace right now. So I'm sure out of the 72, you can find a couple of the beans that you actually like to have or have them in different ways, like into dips and things like that as well. And you can hide beans into soups. You can mash them up so you don't, if you don't like the texture, you can actually turn them into almost like a broth. So there's lots of ways to be able to use those. All right, salmon. Salmon has been picked up. Why? Why is salmon a superfood? Well, there's a couple different reasons. Salmon has, for number one reason, omega-3s. So you've probably heard some buzz around omega-3s. What are they? What do they do? Here's the deal. The fish, the salmon, eats algae. Algae has an omega-3 called ALA. That's the plant-based omega-3. Well, the fish has the ability in the enzyme to actually take that plant-based omega-3 and turn it into EPA and DHA. Probably some acronyms that you've heard. But our bodies have a hard time converting the plant-based to the EPA and DHA. So eating this salmon helps us to absorb more omega-3s more readily. When we eat the plant-based omega-3, we can only absorb about 5%. That's a low amount. So by getting in these plant or these fish-based sources like salmon, if you can see all these little fat rings here, this is where the omega-3 is stored. And so that omega-3 can help to reduce inflammation because it's an anti-inflammatory, and it also can help on a host of different issues for muscle recovery. It can help with fighting macular degeneration. That's the loss of peripheral vision in your eyes. It can help to stabilize your heart rate. It can help to do a whole host of things. You can have it steamed, roasted, and even eaten raw in a poke bowl or sushi. So salmon, just a little tip here. The more it's cooked, the fishier it will taste. So when people say, "Oh, I don't know if I could have raw," the raw does not have any fishy flavor. If it does, I mean, it's gone bad. Don't eat it. But that's where people overcook fish. And if you overcook it, it's going to get that fishy flavor. But fish should not be overcooked. You don't have to cook it that long, which for me, I love because you can have from frozen salmon to cooked in a very short period of time. So just to take you kind of through that, to tell you how easy it is. So if you have a piece of frozen salmon, which you can get at any of the Wegmans or Tops or whatever, they come in individual packets. Take that packet from the freezer and run it under cold water until it thaws. And it's probably only going to be a couple minutes. It happens very quickly. Then what you're going to do is heat a little bit of olive oil, get it up to temperature so the olive oil is nice and hot. You can see it starting to pool actually, and you're going to drop that piece of salmon right down in it. What's going to happen is don't touch the salmon until you can see it turn to that opaque. So it's going to be that pink and it's going to turn to that almost that white opaque color halfway through. That's when you turn it to the other side. Wait till it comes up to that side. Your salmon is done. So I was very lucky. I was the Wegmans dietitian and got to learn all of these tips and tricks with using salmon from all of the fish workers. They were fantastic, but they really taught me how easy it is to make fish in your own home, and you don't have to overcook it. Okay, so that's just, I think it really helps a lot, and you can add the salmon and kale together. All right, so then we're going to get into our probiotics. These are foods that have live cultures, and these are foods that have been eaten, again, around the world from the beginning of time. In America, we've gotten away from these types of foods, and so we're having a lot more digestive issues. So making sure that we have live cultures called probiotics, these come from fermented foods. So sauerkraut and kimchi are both fermented, and they are a form of cabbage. So our sauerkraut has been used in German dishes forever. And so our kimchi has been used in Korea. That's going to give us lots of potassium, vitamin C, K, magnesium, fiber. And it's also, again, going to give you that awesome probiotic, which is going to replace the digestive tract gut bacteria. So this is crazy. I love the statistic that the person that lives in South Korea, almost every single year, actually will consume about 40 pounds of kimchi. Crazy, 40 pounds of kimchi per year. So, and another fun fact is that when they're posing for a picture, they say kimchi instead of cheese, which is really fun too. All right, so then on to goji berries. And goji berries are something that's still kind of coming up. If you've ever seen that episode from Down to Earth with Zac Efron, and they go into Costa Rica, you can find some of these really cool medicinal plants that have been growing in these amazing forests forever. And so these are one of those cool types of plants. Like this is from ancient China. And so it's just really interesting of these different foods are coming into our food supply, which before we never would have had. So acai berries, chia seeds, goji berries coming from all over the world. But these foods have been used as medicinal plants to treat eye, liver, and kidney ailments forever. So the sweet tart fruit is usually sold dry. It has a texture of a raisin. You can use them in smoothies, oatmeals, and they definitely have a high vitamin C, vitamin A, iron, and fiber. And one serving of these goji berries provides 10% of your daily recommended value of protein, which is a lot for a fruit. A lot of fruits don't contain a high amount of protein. So this is a great way to get in all of these nutrients and vitamins. And that's why goji berries have been listed as a superfood. Okay, so then into cacao powder. So I got to go to this amazing conference called Shopping for Health, probably, I don't know, 12 years ago. It was awesome. And got to learn all about cacao and where our chocolate comes from, how we get that. And it is coming from both, it can come from Africa or South America, so down in the warm climates. And something I didn't know is kind of fun fact that there's coffee and chocolate grown there, the cacao bean, and they actually will swap out. So, and that helps for protect the plant against any of the insects or things that may be attacking it. So kind of a little fun fact about that. But learning more about the cacao bean is that it actually can help improve memory, maintain energy, and it's been used in cultures for thousands and thousands of years. So you can use it in smoothies, you know, all these different ways, and cacao cream and butter for cosmetics as well. But what we have here in America is very different. So for instance, Hershey's chocolate only has 10% of the natural cacao. So the majority of the Hershey's chocolate is coming from sugar, from milk products, things like that. So this is where when you're looking for a chocolate bar, you want to have a very high cacao percentage. So you'll see like on the label, it will say 60% or 80% cacao. That means you're getting more of these nutrients and vitamins that are naturally coming from that cacao plant. And so the Incas considered that cacao juice as the drink of the gods. Hot chocolate, that's what that is. And so that gave them rise to the scientific name of the cacao tree. And so that's where they came up with this Greek word for the cacao tree. So the theobroma cacao. And so this is where it came from, is that God-like drink. So cacao nibs are new to a lot of people. These, again, will not have all the milk chocolate in it. So people that have lactose intolerance can actually handle cacao nibs fine and can eat chocolate. So this is where you could actually use these if you're going to make chocolate chip cookies or something like that. They're going to have more of the nutrients and vitamins and not have all of the added sugar. All right, so let's go back to chia and flax seeds. Like I said, they were typically grown in South America, and they've been cultivated and used for thousands and thousands of years. So I got to learn a lot about chia seeds because in Skinny Atlas, New York, there used to be a chia seed factory called Running Man. And so I got to tour the factory and learn about chia seeds, which was amazing. So the Aztecs and Mayans used to use chia seeds as their only nutrition source to run from plantation to plantation or from tribe to tribe. And so that's how nutrient dense these little seeds are. They have omega-3s, they have fiber, they have antioxidants, vitamins, minerals. And when you add them to water, they absorb and they become gelatinous. So this is how they were able to sustain their nutrition running. And that's why in Skinny Atlas, they called it Running Man, was because they were using this as their sole source of nutrition. So when you buy chia seeds, you can buy them and eat them the way they are. Flax seeds need to be ground because they look like this. So we want to make sure we're getting them ground. If you do have flax seeds that look like this, you can put them through your coffee grinder and they'll be absolutely fine. But otherwise, you're not going to be able to absorb the nutrients that come from the flax seeds if they're in their full source, because our bodies can't break it down. So just make sure you grind them up. But you can use both chia seeds and flax seeds for tons of things. And a lot of the people that I have are my patients that are vegan. They actually use them like a gel, so they can use it as a great egg substitute in baking. So this is where it's kind of cool that you can use these chia seeds and flax seeds for so many different things. I had a patient yesterday and she's like, how do I utilize this? I'm like, you can add them to yogurt, you could add them to oatmeal, you could add them to your salads. So lots of different ways to bump up on nutrition and get this superfood throughout the day. And then again, there you go. Just make sure that we're getting this ground so that you can make those nutrients available. Hemp seeds. So we're getting into hemp seeds, and it's interesting, way back at that Shopping for Health presentation on chocolate, there was also the owner of Nutiva who was there talking about hemp seeds. And again, this was like 15 years ago. So he said that if we had gone in America, if we had focused on getting in hemp versus corn, we would be a much healthier country. And it's interesting, he was bringing that up all those years ago, and now I see that things are starting to change, and we're getting more hemp seeds and more of our plants being grown across the US because it's becoming legal, which is great. So hemp is the cannabis plant, and it is nutritionally pretty amazing. So you can eat these little seeds and they're going to have omega-3s, proteins, omega-6s. And so they are absolutely loaded with nutrition. And they also provide us with the complete amino acid profile. So what does that mean? Well, we call them essential amino acids, meaning that you have to eat them. Your body doesn't make them. And amino acids are the building blocks for protein. So hemp seeds actually contain all of the ones that we need to eat, all the essential amino acids, which makes them complete. So they are a superfood, and they can be eaten with basically anything at all, the same as your flaxseed and your chia seeds. All right, let's get into coconut oil. So this has become a controversial food. Now, coconut is a tropical oil, and coconut oil is 64% saturated fat. However, it's a medium chain fatty acid, and that is what's used like if you were in the hospital and needed a tube feed. This is the type of oil that they would be giving you because it's broken down by the body so easily. But again, with any fat, we don't want to go overboard. Just having about 2 tablespoons of fat per meal is what's needed to absorb fat-soluble vitamins. And so getting in this healthy fat source, we can actually support heart, immune, metabolic, and skin health. But again, don't have this in excessive amounts because of its saturated fat and its high caloric density. But it has gotten a lot of notoriety because it has a high smoke point, meaning that you can cook on higher temperatures with baking and frying so it doesn't turn to smoke and turn to a trans fat. So you can use it for a lot of different things, but it is solid at room temperature, and that's where that 64% of saturated fat comes in. So again, just use it sparingly, but it really is great when cooking salmon. It'll make your whole house smell like vacation. Turmeric. So turmeric is a very powerful antioxidant herb spice that has been used in India and throughout the whole Eastern culture for a very long time. So right before the pandemic, I was able to go to India and go to the spice markets, which was actually mind-boggling and amazing, so cool. And then that was up in Delhi, and down in the south, we were in Chennai. And in Chennai, I got to see huge carts of turmeric going by. And turmeric looks like a root. See, it looks like this long root, almost like ginger. And the inside is this powerful color, this orange color. And this is the curcumin, the active ingredient that's in turmeric. And it tastes amazing, and it's used to flavor dishes and also add that beautiful orange color. So it's very versatile. You can use it in tons of different things. It is an anti-inflammatory spice. It's not spicy. In America, when we use that word spice, we're thinking spicy, but this is not spicy. This just adds a lot of different flavor, and it is anti-inflammatory. So in India, turmeric is also used even for the outside of the body. They'll add it into like an ointment if you have a scrape, and they'll put it on the outside for that anti-inflammatory response. And it's used in almost every single dish that is produced in India. So it's a very important spice. So back in thousands of years ago, and still done today, that when a woman gets married in India, they'll be given a spice bowl to grind spices, because these spices and herbs are so important to the culture and so important to these dishes. So turmeric being one of the staples. All right, so getting into whole grains. Oh, sorry, we just flew right by. So these are some of the whole grains. And with a patient that I had this morning, we were discussing how they found a 5,000-year-old man, which was interesting. I think it was up by the border of Sweden and Italy, somewhere in that zone. And inside of his stomach, they found that he had einkorn. Einkorn is the original source of wheat. And very interesting that he had that in venison and berries in his system, all three being superfoods, all being foods that we've eaten for 5,000 years. These are foods that really truly feed the body and keep us healthy. And these are just a few of the whole grains that are eaten around the world for centuries. So millet is one of the original grains of Africa. It is gluten-free. You're going to see it in a lot of the gluten-free products. It does have a good fiber and protein source. Wheat berries are not gluten-free. But they do have fiber and protein. Bulgur wheat is great. Oats, everybody knows. Farro is the original grain of Italy. It happens to be one of my kids' favorites. So we have a lot of farro in our house. Freekeh, again, is one of those grains that comes from Africa that we've been eating for centuries. It also has a high calcium source, a great grain. And quinoa, which we've heard more and more about because of its gluten-free property. And it's also a complete protein, which is really nice too, kind of like the hemp. So getting into some honorable mentions here, any vegetable, any fruit, any of your seaweed sources and vegetables, these are all going to be superfoods. Foods that have one ingredient, that have nutrients and vitamins and antioxidants are all superfoods. Anything that says broccoli, lemons, squash, all of this, seaweed, this is all truly great for us. And getting in these seaweed sources, a lot you're going to hear in the next few years about iodine. Iodine, again, has become one of those nutrients that's missing in the American diet because we pulled it out of our salt. Remember the Morton's iodized salt? Now we've gone to sea salt. We pulled it out of our water supply. Now we add chlorine and fluoride. It used to be in our baked goods. Now we have bromine. So there's a lot of reasons, but this is a great source of iodine in the diet, which can actually affect your thyroid. So truly avoid marketing tricks There's a lot of foods out there that look like they're superfoods, but they are not. They have lots of chemicals added to them, a lot of changes. They've been stripped of their nutrients if they have been changed or refined. So let's go back to real foods. Be a smart consumer and understand that superfoods have one ingredient. They have one ingredient. They're either blueberries, strawberries, they're broccoli, they're salmon, they're venison. These are foods that truly are in their natural state that are going to give us nutrients and vitamins. They do not have added sugars, they do not have preservatives, and they do not have additives. So superfoods are all foods that are natural. So in summary, this healthy diet can be a variety of healthy foods in these superfoods. Get all the colors of the rainbow, and this will truly help to fight disease and help you to live a longer, healthier life, a life that you want to live, not one in the hospital. So consistently eating superfoods is essential. Okay, it is essential. And we want to make sure that we are getting these beneficial foods and cutting down on processed, unhealthy foods. So as a take-home challenge, I want you to try a new grain. Get out there and try a new grain. If you're in the grain section, you'll see that a lot of them are called ancient grains. Those are just in their natural state. So ancient grains are a great way to start because they're going to be not refined in most cases. You'll be able to try out the freekeh or the quinoa, or try out our favorite, the farro. It's so good. It has like a nutty flavor. It's really, really good. And try to see if you can get a kimchi or sauerkraut, something in the fermented section, so you get probiotics. You could bake kale chips with some coconut oil, add turmeric for seasoning. And the next time you're tired, you could try for some acai berries and some cacao nibs. So that was a lot of different foods and a lot of different education. But basically, the takeaway message of this is get back to real food. At Kelly's Choice, that's our logo. It's real people promoting real food. And that's been our message for the past 10 years of educating people like yourself of why we should be eating real foods and getting away from any of the additives and things like that. So I hope that you visit us at our website at kellyschoice.org. You can book a dietitian right on the website. We do work with all insurance plans, so it's a great way to connect with our dietitians, and you get access to the Healthy app. So it's awesome. So definitely check us out at kellyschoice.org and follow us on social media at kellyschoice_nutrition on Instagram. We're going to be doing some cool giveaways this summer. You'll be really excited. There's some really neat products that are going to be doing some free giveaways with us. So that's kellyschoice_nutrition. So I'm going to open it up now. I'll stop our recording and I will open it up so that we can ask questions. But I appreciate everyone being on that was watching today, and I'll send out this recording.